All right, so advice to a new agent. I mean, you've all been at it for a while. I mean, somebody getting into this space, like, Dan, you mentioned, starting out, like, we were working together pretty early on, and Absolutely. It was like, just like, got to find business, and you don't have that book to fall back on, you know what I mean? It's like, but what advice would you give?
I started off with the financial industry. I'm sorry, I tapped the table. And I had my financial advisory business backing me up. So if I had failed, I have that to lean on. I can pay my mortgage. I can pay my bills that way. But again, don't do it because you're looking for a paycheck, because that'll only last so long and people see right through you. Mm-hmm. Do it for a passion, because you genuinely like showing homes, being involved in the process, and people will see it. If they call that commission breath, don't they? You come in and you're like, I'm going to get paid, buy this house. They're going to see right through you. Do it, like I said before, as a passion, because you're genuinely interested in it and you want to learn.
Yeah.
I think that's my best advice.
Okay. Yeah, that's sound advice.
My advice is definitely link up with bigger agents in your office and be their runner. Do every open house and, go to the inspections and take out their buyers. And yes, you will be working for free, but in the end, the experience that you get from that, far exceeds that.
That's really good advice for sure.
I think kind of the same thing you said is, I think agents coming into the business should expect, you have to kind of have something. I know everyone needs to pay bills and stuff, but I think you should expect your first year or two to almost be like an internship. I look back on my first year or two, I linked up with, like you said, a broker, and I didn't even make minimum wage, not even close to minimum wage for the first year or two, but I looked at it like I was working on so many different transaction deals that I soaked up so much from that broker, making peanuts, but I learned so much in my first year or two. I think a lot of agents get so excited to come in and make a nice big commission check, or like they see what other agents are making. They're like, I want to do that. And they try and think their first year or two is going to be like that. I think you have to really take your first year or two, just like a lot of like finance and stuff. When I was in finance, out of college, I got an internship right after college because I knew I had to learn a business. I went to school for finance, but you have to learn the business ins and outs of it. And I think real estate's even probably more important, that you have to learn the real life part of real estate, not just the stuff you learn in the real estate school. So I think taking your first year or two and trying to make it like an internship, or in your mind trying to make an internship, and just learn as much as you can, and then expect to try and take off after that, not take off your first year.
Yeah, that's the toughest thing. Even in the mortgage space, it's like there's no formal training, right? You're kind of just getting thrown into it. But yeah, linking up, like you said, because even like the open houses, right? If you're a top agent, you know what I mean? You might be at a point where you don't want to work the weekends.
Or
and
they
if you're
don't need
willing
buyers.
they don't need buyers. So you're willing to go and do it, and you got to cut your teeth. But how about you?
I think what Dave said was perfect. I think it's not easy. Like, I think everyone thinks like, well, he does it, I could do it. And like, you think you're going to be rolling in, $10,000 commission check after $10,000 commission check. It's just not how it works. Right away. And I think the thing that new agents need to do more so than anything, use your sphere. Write a letter to all your friends and family, letting them know. Social media, like, you need to let people be known. I remember missing out on like 4 or 5 deals when I first started because they're like, oh, I didn't know that you were selling houses. I would have used you. And it was like,
isn't that like the worst thing?
Yeah, I just cost myself $15,000.
Like, you're just like, right. You're 100% right.
So like, I think your sphere, until you start to meet people that you don't know outside your sphere, like, you have to lean on friends, families, cousins, and stuff like that in the beginning.
Social media.
That's the biggest thing. More than anything. Like, it's kind of crazy to say to let it be known that you're a realtor and telling people what you're closing and what you're doing and what houses people are buying, but like, people want to work with people that are successful. They don't want to put their biggest financial transaction in their life in the hands of someone who, no offense, doesn't really know what they're doing.
Correct.
I think that's a tough thing for a lot of agents to do. It almost feels like you're bragging, but you're like really just trying to tell people, like, look, this is what I'm doing. This is,
Yeah,
so
but then
it's a tough balance.
You all do it the right way. But like, let me ask, like, is the social media, do you feel like you actually get a lot of phone calls from that, or is it more just your general branding of like who you are? But you think that, because you said social media and everyone was like, oh yeah, I know social media is a big thing, but to actually
have a drive business. Because I get messages.
But from people that I know, I'll get messages like, hey, my friend is looking to buy a house. Can you help them?
Yeah, of course. All the time.
I never get a phone call. I got leads saying, like, just it pops up on my phone. I'm like, oh, somebody recommended me to you. And I'm like, well, why didn't you just call me? Like, my
Yeah.
phone number's all over the place,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
But I get DMs and you get phone calls and DMs. I'm sure a
DMs
combo.
more, I guess.
I think a lot of it for me is branding. Like I try and like kind of saying posting about what you're doing and stuff, just kind of just doing social media stuff to brand yourself and just making sure people remember you.
Well, it's
you know,
top of
remember me.
mind, right? I mean,
Yeah.
is the big thing, I guess.